Good morning, all, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Rav here from the Real Arsenal Deal podcast. Hope you're all well. I am recording this about 45 minutes after the final whistle. Arsenal 2-0 over Olympiacos. It should have been more, but maybe they could have scored as well. It's a bit of a difficult game to fully read because ultimately we've got the job done. That's what we came for. No new injuries. We've made some more rotation as well that I actually thought we would. So there's plenty to discuss in what's going to be a bit more of a raw, instant style reaction recording here. So for those of you watching on video, thank you so much. Yes, I'm out in the garden again because it's about 7:45 a.m. here, and I thought I'd just step outside. My kids are having breakfast, so much easier to record here. Please excuse any background noise you may hear. It's a little bit windy here, a little bit chilly and windy here on a cold, wintry Melbourne morning. Yes, some birds are agreeing with me as well, so apologies for that. I'll try and clear up as best as I can any background noise before publishing this. But look, the important thing is I wanted to get on here and just share some quick thoughts and quick reaction because ultimately this was a largely positive result. Actually, well, why am I saying largely? I don't even know why I'm saying that because it's a very positive result. Arsenal was 6 points from 6. I think the major talking point, well, two major talking points here. Firstly is Odegaard. Odegaard was back. This was Martin Ødegaard at his best. From what we saw a couple of seasons ago. If you're familiar with my channel, you've probably heard me talk about this many times. I am convinced that he should not have played the volume of minutes he played last season when he came back from that severe ankle injury he suffered very early in the season on that international break playing for Norway. He should not have played as much as he did. I think it was a lot of it was out of necessity. Maybe one area wasn't quite as ready for that position as we perhaps were led to believe earlier. We didn't power up in the transfer market in the summer window last season as much as we needed to, and the cluster injuries that Arsenal suffered. We needed our captain. We needed Odegaard to play almost every minute. There wasn't really a natural substitution for him either. So I'm convinced that the Odegaard that we saw last season, and who's come under a lot of discussion and what I believe to be some unfair criticism. He wasn't fit. He just looked different physically as well. Sorry for that in the background. I think that crow. I think I'm in his spot actually. He's trying to hustle me out of here. But anyway, so Odegaard. This was the Odegaard of old. He looked sharp. He looked fit. He played the full 90 minutes. And what was really interesting, as the game went on, as it went deep into the second half, he was still doing those driving runs. He was still pulling the strings from midfield. This was a fantastic performance. If we've got Martin Ødegaard back, oh my goodness, this is massive for us. If we have prime Ødegaard back, this is absolutely brilliant, especially because we have the ability to chop and change and support him better. Support him if we need to play Eza next to him, or have a different midfield shape to get the best out of him. So not all the creative burden is on him, but also we can support him by managing his minutes. One area is he looks ready to me. I mean, Arteta has trusted him in a few games already this season when Odegaard has come off, and I'm convinced as well that had Gabriel not got injured late on in this match, that one area probably would have been our last sub. He would have come on in that second half, but our hand was forced there by bringing on Mosquera for Gabriel. But anyway, so bringing it back to Martin Ødegaard, I'm really chuffed with that. I'm so pleased. I was watching him very closely, and this is brilliant. And I think it's just what Odegaard needed as well. How he didn't score in that close range effort, and it was the double shot, wasn't it? One was blocked by the keeper, fantastic save, and then their defender on the rebound. So he should have scored, but I'm really glad at least he got the assist to his name, registered it as an assist when he played in Bukayo right at the end. So look, I'll just get back to what I was saying earlier. The other major positive I feel is the fact that we can chop and change things during the match. Did you notice how when Saka and Eza came on, Saka went to his familiar right wing and Eza on the left. But then a few minutes later, you noticed that they changed. There was one moment where Eza's played a brilliant diagonal ball all the way across to Bukayo, and then just a couple of minutes later, they both decided to swap. These little in-game moments, keeping the opposition guessing. It's keeping me guessing as well. watching from home. So this is really, really positive for Arsenal. We all know and we've all discussed at length a bit of a predictable nature that crept into Arsenal of last season, where if we could predict what's going to happen, then you can sure as hell bet that opposition managers and players know what Arsenal are going to do as well. So all of a sudden, we've got these aces up our sleeve. We've got the ability to change things, not just off the bench, but even in game. Just even that in game ability to the players just know and trust each other, and they've been empowered by Arteta that they can make the change amongst themselves. They can chat amongst themselves and make those switches. And all of a sudden, the next passage of play, it's Eze who's popped up on the right, and Bukayos come over to the left. We don't often see this from Arsenal. We don't, and this is a real blessing. This is a real blessing for us as this season goes on. Because if we can keep the opposition guessing, keep banging on that door, keep finding a way. We all know what we're trying to achieve this season, right? I mean, I don't want to say it out loud and jinx it, but you all know what I mean. Like, we want to lift the major trophies, the major medals, and there's not one dimensional way to achieve that. There's no one straightforward way to do it. We have to find ways to keep unlocking the door, and I think now. Again, it's very early in the season and it's only the second match day of the Champions League, but we're 6 points from 6 and we're poised well in the Premier League. We've got players to return as well. Just the squad, all of a sudden, just the mentality that's creeping out of Arsenal, the ability to manage players, manage these moments in matches, big moments as well. David Raya stepping up when the team needed him the most. I'm just getting a really, really strong, positive vibe from Arsenal at the moment. And yeah, it's great. It's just to talk a bit further about selection now. I had a feeling when we will rotate at fullback. It's one of the most common things that Mikel does, even in game. So having Ben White fit now as well is fantastic. It's really important that we're able to manage Yuri and Timber. It's really important that we were able to manage Calafiori. So all of a sudden to have players of the caliber of Lewis Skelly and White step in. I mean, it's just minimal fuss, minimal effort. They all have their unique attributes. I like Lewis Skelly. I like his drive through midfield. It's just a different kind of attacking threat to Calafiori, and we can benefit from those moments. So they all bring certain things to the table. So in terms of rounding off selection, it is a bit of a shame that this little injury to Hincapié is continuing to nag, because I look at the centre halves, and yes, you can play. Yes, you most certainly can play Calafiori in the left centre-back position in place of Gabriel. But if we're talking about managing Calafiori's minutes, then shifting in from left-back to left centre-half is not exactly what we had in mind, right? If players need to sit down completely, it would be great to have Hincapié as a left centre-half to stand in there in place of Gabriel. But look, aside from that, I thought Mosquera would start this one, but then again, Mikel, he knows what he's doing. Maybe he's in line for this weekend against West Ham. It remains to be seen, because Saliba looks fit now as well. Touchwood, he looks fantastic. And then I just look at the team. When I saw the lineup name just before the 5 a.m. kickoff here, I woke up. My alarm is just a few minutes before, so by the time I switch on, it's around the time that they're lining up for the Champions League anthem. So when I saw the lineup, there was just minimal fuss. There was no real major thing that stood out. Rice on the bench today. Marino stepping in after his fantastic cameo performance against Newcastle. Sure, that's fine. Ødegaard starting. Yep. He needs the minutes, and he looked fantastic against Newcastle too when he came on as a sub. So just across the board, the only one that really stood out, I was wondering that is this a chance? Maybe would Mikel play Marino as a centre forward and sit down Gyökeres? But aside from that, look, it's one of those things where Gyökeres needs a goal too. So he might be thinking in that respect that this is a good chance for Gyökeres to get on the score sheet. And I thought Gyökeres played really, really well, actually. Similar to Newcastle, he doesn't have the end product to show for it, but I thought Gyökeres, his game is developing. That hold-up play, linking other players in. He's played with a host of combinations of wingers as well so far. I mean, you look how much we've rotated our wingers, even even from match to match, but even during the match. So that natural ability to connect with them, integrate with them, that natural flow that only comes over time, that playing regular minutes with them, he's starting to develop that, and that's really, really positive for Arsenal. I thought, just on the topic now of Gyökeres and end product, and even the wingers, if there was one negative to come out of this, and I'll say this first, actually. I think Olympiacos were very, very good. They're quite a tricky opponent. It's one of those quirky, bogey teams that we come across every now and then. They actually have an excellent record against Arsenal. Excellent record at the Emirates. I believe they've won their last 3 consecutive matches at the Emirates. There aren't too many teams across Europe who can boast that statistic. So full credit to them. They were quite good tonight. They made it quite difficult for us. However, having said all of that, we really had the chances to put this game to bed, to put this game away. Trossard, in particular, was unusually wasteful. A few times in the second half when he's been played into that beautiful little left-hand corridor in the box, normally he puts them at least on target or finds that corner, but he wasted them. And then there was even that chance to play in Martinelli from a little cross, and there was just too much. It was too much of a heavy cross, a heavy touch, and it went out of place. So unusual for Trossard. Normally, he's an end product machine. Maybe if he came off the bench, right? Maybe there's a quirky psychology to it too. If he came off the bench and impacted, right? Yeah, I'm pretty confident those passes find the back of the net. But Gyökeres had an excellent chance when he was played over the top early, just like we wanted. He cuts inside, but he blazed over as well. So on another day, another certain situation, we should have been a few goals ahead. You could sense the players knew it too. You could sense on the sidelines, Arteta's reaction to some of these shots being missed. You could just sense it. And in times gone past, we would have been punished for it, right? In fact, I actually thought we were. The ball found the back of the net for Olympiacos. It was a bit of a scrappy sort of affair in the box. Raya saved one, defended one, but then they bundled the ball over. Thankfully, it was caught offside. It looked pretty tight from what I could see, but offside is offside, and it's actually really pleasing how quick the VAR checks are in Europe. I mean, it's such a contrast to what we see in the Premier League, like how long some of these delays seem to take. But look, I don't want to do the whole referee and officiating thing. I've done that relentlessly, and it's so tiresome. It does my head in even to talk about it. But look, thankfully, it was offside. It remained 1-1. Can we talk about Raya for a moment? That first half save. I've continually said as well that across the course of the season, in big moments, you need big moments from your goalkeeper. I mean, how many times did we see? We saw Donnarumma do it as PSG basically won everything last season, won the Champions. They wouldn't have won the Champions League without him when he stepped in when the team needed him most. There are so many examples of this. I mean, even going back to the glory years, Seaman, how many times did he do that for Arsenal? Jens Lehmann. In recent seasons, Alisson, for example, how many times has he done that for Liverpool? And in David Raya, maybe, just maybe, we have our current modern-day iteration of that. That's going to punctuate trophy-winning teams. David Raya continuously, he steps up. He steps up in big moments. That was a ridiculously good save. Outstretched, quick reactions, quick reflexes. And what I love most about David Raya, aside from his quality goalkeeping, course, is that when he saves, he doesn't just block them back into play. Like he if he's going to save, he tips it over the bar, he tips it around the corner, he gets it out of the danger area. He does this time and time again. It's the little 1%ers that separate good goalkeepers to elite. And I strongly believe that David Raya is in that elite category. He may not get the necessary credit or plaudits for it, because let's be honest, that really only comes when you're part of a championship winning team. However, I do strongly believe that if we do what I hope we do, then David Raya is going to be talked about. He's going to have that reputation around him across Europe and across the world. He's a fantastic keeper. Time and again, he steps up when we needed him most. And in that moment, we needed him, because a 1-1 with the chances that we spurned, right? You just never know. You just never know what can happen. You never know. I mean, the Olympiacos fans, they were fantastic too. They were making a lot of noise. If you arrest that momentum to the opposition, they can make it really difficult for you. And at times, did So I'm so pleased. Prior bailed us out where we needed him most. So on to the second half now. Some major talking points to talk about. Yes, we brought on Trossard and Martial. Both of them played really well. Bob, how have I not even mentioned the goal yet? My apologies. It's not often that I do record so soon after the final whistle. So, again, engineered by Odegaard, driving through the middle, played in Gyökeres just like we want. That connection between Odegaard and Gyökeres, if this is blossoming, that spells good news for Arsenal. Gyökeres has done really well. He's really struggling the challenge. He's held them up well. His shots come off. He's come off the post. Luckily for us, it's gone back into the danger area that I was just referring to when I was talking about Raya. And Martinelli's there, anticipates the ball. One of the easiest finishes that he will do. He made it look easy, actually, and it's 1-0. And I think on the balance of play, we certainly deserved that. Yes, we should have been further ahead as the game went on, but in the second half, to bring Martinelli off and bring Eza on, what a blessing for Arsenal. What a moment. If you just pause for a moment and have a look at the bench, and even our bench, look at our options. Declan Rice, Eza, Saka, Ødegaard, Dowman. I'm certainly not missing a few. Of course, Timber, Calafiori. And even as the match went on the feed here on our images here, we saw pitch side in their hoodies keeping was Havertz, Nkapie, Gabriel Jesus, Madueke was there as well. Oof, this is fantastic, and unused subs with one area, as I've already mentioned. So this is great. This is great for us. We've got the ability to make the change, and thankfully Arteta is making the changes too. If he's seeing things on the pitch that he wants to make amends of, make the change, Mikel. Don't be afraid to make the sub. We don't have to wait too late, as we have in seasons gone past. He's making the call, and the impact is there straight away. I believe this is 4 consecutive games now that Arsenal have had a goal from a substitute. This time Saka, which is great to see. Saka, he took his goal really well in that left channel, so he swapped flanks with Eza. I think in that first passage of play, he probably should have taken the shot, but it's rebounded. We've regained possession. Saka's back to Ødegaard, and then he makes his run into the box again. Ødegaard finds him, and this time Piers just said, "No, I'm shooting," and he did. And 2-0, game over into injury time. Again, it's just great just to seal the points, because just at 1-0, we're just at risk of anything random happening, and we all know that anything random can and does happen, especially over the last 12 months or so for Arsenal. But just to put the game to bed, goal difference is important too, right? We just want to just keep increasing that. As long as you keep winning, maximize points, the goal difference takes care of himself. It's way too early to read too much into the table, of course, but we're amongst a host of teams that are 6 points out of 6. As this group stage goes on, we would like to see some separation created, and we want to finish in that top, 2, 3, 4 positions again. Get the advantage from it, and of course, then as the Champions League gets deeper and deeper now, there is that. Finally, they are rewarding the team that finishes higher with the second home leg in the playoff matches in the round of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, etc. So that's where we'd like to be. It's a long way ahead, of course, but as long as we keep winning, it'll take care of itself. Goal difference will take care of itself. And look, Arsenal are in a very, very good position, a very good state at the moment. And heading into the West Ham match this weekend, we're in an excellent position. What I'm really pleased by, and this will be my closing thoughts. The manner in which we won at Newcastle was fantastic, of course. However, it can get easily eroded if you don't do your job the next game, if you don't take advantage, if you don't capitalise. You still got to maintain composure and professionalism. I've seen Arsenal teams in the past ride that euphoria from a last-minute winner, which look, it still gets me buzzing. Please don't get me wrong. It's amazing to win matches in that regard. However, if you go out and fluff your next match, or you drop points in your next Premier League match, or you lose out of nowhere to someone like West Ham, what does it really mean? What does it count for? I remember that Danny Welbeck winner against Leicester way back in 2016 at the Emirates. It still gets me when I watch it, but I can't help but feel now. I look at it and I think, just a week later, how we fluffed our lines against Manchester United, and then out of nowhere, like we all that momentum was just like a balloon popped. So you still got to be professional. You still got to go out there and get the job done. And pleasingly, Arsenal did. Yes, more than one thing can be true at once. We can have a fantastic win against Newcastle, great, but then let's heads down, get back to business, work hard, professional, mature performance, win your next match, and on to the next one against West Ham this weekend. That's what I'm hoping to see, and that's the mentality that I'm receiving from the club. And this is great. This is great for all of us Arsenal fans. It's a great time to be an Arsenal fan. And I thank you so much for watching. As always, please let me know any thoughts or questions you have. This is a different kind of format for me to post so soon after the final whistle. So if you like this, please tell me if you want to see more, or if I haven't covered everything you'd like, please do let me know in the comments below, or any feedback you may have. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd be kind enough to like and subscribe on YouTube, or follow me and review me on Apple or Spotify or your podcast platform of choice, that will be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much as always. I'll be back on soon to talk about as we head into the lead up to West Ham on the weekend. Look after yourselves, check in with your loved ones, and come on Arsenal.